Her blind date never showed until two boys in red jackets said, "Dad picked you. Not anyone else." She checked her phone again. No new messages. The cafe clock ticked louder than it should have, each second stretching the silence at her table. People laughed, cups clinked, doors opened and closed, but the chair across from her stayed empty. Just when she decided this night would end like so many disappointments before, two small voices broke through the noise and changed everything. What happened next wasn't something you'd expect from a blind date gone wrong. It was a moment of kindness so unexpected, so sincere, that it turned an ordinary evening into a story people would remember for years. Before we begin, if stories like this warm your heart and remind you of the good still out there, take a second to subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. You're watching Heartfelt Moments, where simple acts of kindness become unforgettable stories. Emily sat alone at a corner table, hands wrapped around a mug she'd stopped drinking 10 minutes ago. She was 34, a graphic designer from Ohio, and she hadn't been on a blind date in almost 2 years. Not because she didn't want love, but because hope had become something she handled carefully, like fragile glass. Her friend Sarah had insisted. "Just one coffee," she'd said. "No pressure. His name is Mark. He's a good guy." So Emily had said yes. She'd worn her favorite blue sweater, the one that made her feel calm. She'd even practiced smiling in the mirror before leaving, reminding herself to stay open, no matter what happened. But now it was 25 minutes past their meeting time. She replayed every possibility in her head. Maybe he was stuck in traffic. Maybe he forgot. Maybe he saw her from outside and changed his mind. Each thought landed a little heavier than the last. The waitress stopped by, offering a polite smile that carried quiet sympathy. "Would you like anything else?" Emily shook her head gently. "I'm fine. Thank you." Across the cafe, the door swung open, letting in a rush of cold air and noise. Emily glanced up out of habit, then looked back down. It wasn't him. It never was. That's when she heard it. "Excuse me, miss?" She looked up to see two boys standing beside her table. They looked about 8 or 9 years old, both wearing bright red jackets that seemed almost too cheerful for the gray evening outside. One had freckles and a shy smile. The other stood a little taller, serious, with curious eyes. "Yes?" Emily said, surprised. The freckled one spoke first. "Our dad wanted us to ask if you're okay." Emily blinked. "Your dad?" The taller boy nodded and pointed toward the counter. "He's over there. He said you looked sad." Emily followed his finger. A man stood a few feet away, holding 2 hot chocolates. He looked to be in his late 30s, brown hair slightly messy, wearing a worn jacket like he'd rushed out the door without overthinking it. When their eyes met, he raised his hand awkwardly in a small wave. Emily felt her throat tighten. "That's really kind," she said to the boys. "I'm okay. Just waiting for someone." The boys exchanged a look. Then the freckled one smiled again, brighter this time. "Our dad said to tell you something," he said. Emily leaned in slightly. "What is it?" He took a breath, like he was delivering a very important message. He said, "If her date doesn't show, tell her I picked her. Not anyone else." Emily froze. The cafe noise faded for just a second. She looked from the boys to their father again. His face had gone a little red, like he wasn't sure this was a good idea anymore, but he didn't look away. "That's very sweet," Emily managed. The taller boy added, "He said you shouldn't sit alone." Before Emily could respond, the man walked over, setting the hot chocolates down carefully on the table. "I'm so sorry," he said quickly. "I didn't mean to interrupt. I saw you checking your phone, and I've been there. Too many times." Emily felt tears sting her eyes, catching her off guard. "You didn't interrupt," she said softly. "You helped." The man smiled, relieved. "I'm Jake." These are my sons, Leo and Ben. If you'd rather be alone, that's completely okay. I just thought, no one deserves to feel invisible. Something shifted inside Emily. Not fireworks. Not instant romance. Just warmth. Human warmth. Would you like to sit? She asked. Jake hesitated for half a second, then pulled out a chair. The boys climbed onto the seats beside him, proudly sipping their hot chocolates like they'd just accomplished a secret mission. They talked about nothing important and everything that mattered. The boys argued about which superhero was stronger. Jake shared how he was raising them on his own since their mom passed away 3 years earlier. Emily talked about her work, her love of quiet mornings, and how this blind date almost convinced her to stop trying again. At one point, Jake said gently, "Whoever didn't show up tonight, they missed something good." Emily smiled, feeling something loosen in her chest that had been tight for a long time. When it was time to leave, Jake stood and said, "No pressure at all, but if you'd like to have coffee again sometime, just us adults, I'd really like that." Emily didn't overthink it. "I'd like that too," she said. Outside, as they said goodbye, the boys waved enthusiastically. "Dad really did pick you," Leo said. "Not anyone else." Emily laughed through happy tears as she walked to her car. That night didn't start with romance. It started with kindness. With 2 boys in red jackets, a father brave enough to care, and a woman who almost gave up, but didn't. Sometimes, kindness doesn't change everything all at once. Sometimes, it just reminds you that you matter. And that can change everything. So if you see someone sitting alone tonight, if you sense a quiet sadness you recognize, don't look away. A small moment of kindness might be the beginning of someone's new story. And maybe, just maybe, yours too.